Soldier on, my good countrymen, keep fighting for your children now. Keep fighting for your land.
Hey guys, I am going to do something I haven't done in a while, and that is a Bible musing on the mystic side of things. I'm about to upload a video explaining how my relationship with the depth of the literal side has increased dramatically these last months with my sickness, and I'll try to get that into a worded form that works for me. I made a short video last night just softly mentioning this, and I think that's important because I want to bridge all of these gaps, and in my own life too. I have really fallen onto the old tools of just fasting, prayer and faith with my sickness, and it means I can still drive the car without knowing how the car works, is the best analogy I can give. But I still see a need to understand the deeper aspects of the Bible, because without it, it becomes a bit senseless. And somebody messaged me on Patreon, which has stirred me to do this, and I replied yesterday and said I'll record a video. And they asked me about a passage in Kings, and I find it a very fascinating little passage because if you take it literal, it's ridiculous, and that's why I find it so fascinating. But also the true deeper meaning of it brings a great deal of benefit to the reader if you understand it. So in Kings 2, Elisha performs miracles, and I'm going to skip over the whole passage and go to the part that I was asked about so that you can not be overloaded with information. So Elisha is as follows: "And he went up from there to Bethel, and as he was going up the road, some youths came from the city and mocked him, and said to him, 'Go up, you bald head, go up, you bald head.' So he turned around and looked at them, and pronounced a curse on them in the name of the Lord. And 2 female bears came out of the forest and mauled 42 of the youths. Then he went from there to Mount Carmel, and from there he returned to Samaria." So if we take that very literal, it's speaking about the power of a curse of God, that even a servant of God will be, if mocked, will be condemned and protected by God so ferociously that 2 bears will come and kill 42 children. But that contradicts a loving God. Let's be honest, kids are kids, and sometimes kids will shout things that they shouldn't at people, and a loving God, who is their father, would not send wild animals to maul them and tear them apart. It doesn't make any sense. So let me go through this step by step. I made some notes because I'm not well, so my mind's not fluent as it could be. So we'll start at the beginning, and we'll look at, he went up from there to Bethel, and as he was going from the road, some youths came from the city, mocked him, and said to him, "Go up, you bald head, go up, you bald head." So Bethel and Bethlehem always represent the pure state, or the purity and peace of mind state of consciousness. So keep that registered in your mind, that he is going from the pure state of peace of mind consciousness. And as he does, some youth come. Children, or the youth, always represent the young, undeveloped mind, which is unable to grasp the higher concepts of life, or the higher mind, and thus it ends up lacking faith, and it is then attached to hold on to the lower passions, or the stimuluses of the illusion of desires, temptations, and the stimulus of the flesh. So that's what a youth represents. It's the carnal mind, the immature aspect of our human nature that dwells within all of us, that would see us attached to our illusory desires for fleshly pleasure, and not be able to grasp the meanings of the higher mind and such things as the deeper levels of purity, still meditation, still mind, or as Yeshua said, as Jesus said, take no thought for your life. So it's that pure state of thoughtlessness, which is pure consciousness, where you can hear God. Because when you've got two voices in your head, your own and that of the angelic realms, you can't discern which is which unless you enter into that state of consciousness. So he's heading from the pure state and peace of mind, and all of a sudden the youthful aspect, the young undeveloped mind of himself appears and starts to mock him. And what does it say to him? Go up, you bald head, go up, you bald head. The immature aspect of his consciousness begins to mock the highest part of his human body, the highest level of human consciousness. As I've said in other videos before, when you wash feet, feet are the lowest part of the human body. They touch the earth. The earth is the lowest level of consciousness in Athenic and Hebrew mysticism. So the head is the higher level, the highest part of the human mind, represents the higher level of human consciousness. So the youthful children of himself, the undisciplined youthful mind of desire, pleasure, etc., the weak part of the carnal mind mocks the highest level of consciousness within him. It tries to drag him down from there. So he places a curse on them. He turned around and looked at them and pronounced a curse in the name of the Lord, and 2 female bears came out of the woods and mauled 42 of the youths. Brutal. Very, very brutal. Now, first of all, the forest is a state of meditation in solitude. That is what it represents. It represents a state of solitary prayer, which is then subjective to the mind, where consciousness is withdrawn from the external distractions. So the forest literally represents the opposite of the youth. The youth represent the attachment to external distractions because it can't grasp the higher planes. And the forest represents going inwards into a still place of solitary meditation to overcome the desires of the flesh, to overcome the young aspect of our consciousness, the young aspect of our carnal mind. From there comes bears. Bears are symbolic in Hebrew and Athenic mysticism, and Sumerian as well, and other forms of mysticism, of the passions or illusions which hold on to the mind and stifle human effort. So 2 bears come and descend upon the youth that have been mocking him from the forest, and they are the passions or illusions which hug the mind and stifle effort. So actually what happens is, in one fell swoop, from the depth of meditation in the solitude of the forest, the bears come, which are the symbol of the passions or the illusions which hug the mind, and they intertwine, they become one with the youth of the carnal mind, and then they depart. So the symbology of the passions of the illusions which hold onto the mind have taken the childish mind, and they have embraced one another. In this instance, they use the term mauling. And the young undeveloped mind is then succumbed by the passions and the illusions of the mind that's trying to stifle the effort. And the effort is the meditation in solitude to overcome the young aspect of the carnal mind. To go into that deeper space. And how do we know that that is true? Because it ends by saying, then he went from there to Mount Carmel. The mountain always represents the higher place of human consciousness. So if you take all of that into full context, then you start with him being on the road for Bethel. He's in a place of pure mind and consciousness. And then the youthful aspect of himself, the immature carnal mind, arises within him and begins to mock the highest level of his consciousness. And because it mocks the highest level of his consciousness, the bald head, he then has to summon the Lord by going into a state of deep solitude, a solitary meditation, which is represented by the forest. And then the subjective mind can no longer be attached to the external distractions. This brings about the symbol of the passions, or the illusions within ourselves of the passions which hold onto our mind and stifle our effort. When we become conscious of the symbolic aspect of that, when we become conscious of the bear within us, the passions, the illusions, and also deemed the animal nature, but the lion tends to represent that more, then because we become conscious of that symbolic aspect of our passions, that symbolic aspect can then overthrow the young undeveloped mind, which cannot appreciate the higher mature level states. And because the bears we've become conscious of the passions of the bears, they have come and mauled the children, they have overcome the youthful mind within us, we can return to the higher place of consciousness, which is the mountain, in this instance, the mountain of Carmel. And thus the whole story is a journey of man overcoming his weak youthful nature, because as you go on that path to serve God and you walk with God in passion and light, everybody has an ego, everyone has a carnal mind. As the Bible says, the carnal mind is enmity to the laws of God. And if you want to create a temple, remember the temple in the Bible is not a temple built with tools, and it's built in silence. This temple here on your brain still reflects that on your head. And if you look at it, then you begin to realize that as we walk our journey serving God, all of us will be attacked by the youth who mock us and our baldy head, because the young desiring aspect of our carnal nature will mock the higher levels of consciousness that we try to achieve. And to tackle that, we must call on God in the solitary aspects of prayer and meditation represented by the forest, become conscious of the bears, of the passions within ourselves, so as when we become conscious of them, we automatically eradicate the youthful consciousness within us, and the bears then maul the children, symbolically speaking, and we can return to the higher levels of consciousness and sit on the right hand of him, the right hemisphere, the promised land in the east, that right hemisphere inside ourselves, our creative nature, which allows us to sit calmly and comfortably with God and await his instruction for our life. And I'm not the only one who said that, because as Jesus said, take no thought for your life. And you must learn to do that. And you can do it in many ways. And as I said at the beginning of this video, I am about to upload something about how I'm discovering simply with 3 tools, fasting, prayer and faith alone is allowing me to access these states. But I guarantee when I have more strength in my flesh, I will need my other tools. I'll need my time alone in nature to sit and listen for God, because that's how it works. That's why Jesus went up on the mountain alone to meditate. Praying is asking and talking and seeking, and meditation is receiving and listening, and hopefully agreeing with the advice that you get. So that is... I enjoyed that. I've missed it, but that is that explained. And I think you'll probably find me doing some more again, because I'm coming into a space where I feel I can. I was going through a space of spiritual growth and development, and at present I'm in a state of fasting again for my health, scientifically speaking, but going into mitophagy to reset my mitochondria, flush out the toxins. But at the same time, spiritually, a lot of things are being pulled from me, as with every single fast I go on, and I'm grateful for that, because it shows me I'm ready to start sharing the song of my heart again. So, right, if anyone else has any other passages they'd like interpreting, then I'd like to hear from you in the comments. So I can't get to them all, but I'll try to get to some, because I took a lot of pleasure from that. I missed it. Love you all. God bless.